Okay, hi everyone and welcome to our July webinar. I'm really stoked to have the co-founders of Tusk Culture here with us today. So we've got Matariki with me in the office and comes from Brooklyn and Nina. So you may be experiencing a little bit of weird feedback. We're having a few glitches, but hopefully you'll still be able to hear us all. And yeah, we'll get started. So I thought, Matariki, you could give us a little bit of background onto how Tusk started.
Sure. Do you want us to do a brief little intro about ourselves?
That'd be perfect.
Okay, so Hauda Tato Matariki Nina Sukuingoa, Heruria Ho no Nai Tu Hoi Ngāti Whakaue, Ngāti Ho, Taranaki Iwi, Ngāti Howiti. I work at Te Papa as a curator Mātauranga Māori within the Mātauranga Māori territory team. So there are 4 of us in the team and then we've got a head. And yes, along with Nina, I am the co-founder and co-editor of Tusk Emerging Culture. And I will throw this over to Nina now, where she will tell us all about herself.
Sorry about that noise. So as part of my remit as curator manuscripts, I look after and develop the collection of unpublished material at Auckland Museum. I also look after ephemera and oral history, so super broad and pretty awesome collection. I sit in the library inquiry and information team. So there's Victoria curators, and then library staff, as well as the staff who look after online signature. So it's super broad, and also we have people who look after signature online, and yeah, it's all about the information up there in our team, so it's very, very broad. And yes, like Matariki, I'm the founder of
Thanks for that, that's awesome.
And so do you want us to talk a bit about why we started?
That'd be great.
This is almost 2 years old. I think it will turn 2 in September. And I suppose at the time, I would say that we were both feeling a bit, I guess, frustrated at our place in the sector, or our voice or ability to kind of influence or affect change in the sector. And we would have these conversations with each other and with other people in the sector where we would, talk about problems or how wonderful it was. And it kind of struck us as well as being my work. Part of our partner as well, and integral to what we do and who we are. And so I guess we thought we should combine these 2 things and create a platform for people like us, emerging people, to have a place to platform their ideas, test different ways of thinking, and also bring a bit of diversity to the critiques of the government sector, which we saw as lacking. So yeah, that's kind of impetus.
Yeah, I mean, when we started, a few of us were on kind of like the never-ending short-term contract hamster wheel, and it was really unsatisfying, and it was hard to kind of almost feel like we had a place in the sector. And I mean, we're all really passionate about everything that goes on in the sector, and we just didn't really have a place to be able to put all those thoughts and passions and all of that kind of thing. And so the idea of the website came up, and we attempted a few kind of routes to get to where we ended up. We applied for funding and all of that kind of thing, but we missed out. And in hindsight, we have kind of realised that actually missing out has been a blessing in disguise, because it means that we have complete editorial and authorial control over everything, and conceptual control. But I think money would have helped. Money would have helped because, I mean, just for the simple fact that we would be able to pay contributors, because I mean, this is a really, this is a sector that asks a lot of people, and there's a lot of unpaid work in the sector, and it is really hard to kind of expect people to do more unpaid work. But
especially
I guess no, you go.
Also, because that's a critique that we have, that we rely on unpaid work in the sector and voluntary work, and how you kind of break into it. And yet we're also asking people. So we feel that contradiction completely, but we also hope that even not necessarily that people even read what we do, but we do the chance to inform and collaborate on colleagues around the country. So yeah, sorry, I just wanted to.
I guess, with part of that, internships are kind of like the unavoidable evil of the sector. To get a foot in, you need to do them. And I guess with what we're doing with Tusk is we're offering an alternative. Well, you're still going to need to do the internships, and they are invaluable in the networks that you'll build. But with Tusk, it's kind of giving a different platform to your voice. And also, if you want to test ideas before you get into a workforce, you just have kind of complete control over it. And having it online means that it's really reactive and quick, and that's like a key part of I think our success and our ability to do things.
Yeah, and recognising the importance of social media as well, and building those networks that go out all across the world, which is really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys do an awesome job on social media.
It's mainly Matariki, I have to say.
Yeah.
I love Twitter.
Twitter is life.
So I guess we could move on to the different kinds of sections. So one thing Nina and I have been talking a little bit about recently in terms of another kind of task-related project is the idea of having a cacophony of voices and the ability of what Tusk as a platform enables. So what we mean by this is we saw that there was a gap in critical writing about the sector, so that's in kind of social history, in relation to social history exhibitions, or the kind of issues that affect emerging people, or what we think about leadership, what we think about strategy, which are conversations that you don't really get to have unless you are higher up the food chain. And so what's been really important for us in terms of providing a space for all of these diverse voices, and that's in terms of background, but also in terms of kind of positions within the sector, but also in terms of the ways that we use our voice. So we have a few sections on the website where we condense all of this kind of knowledge and information down into different kind of formats. So one of the earlier formats are our Tuakana interviews, and part of us setting those up was that we really wanted to give thanks to a lot of the people who had invested their time and energy and space, and us as students and us as kind of emerging professionals, and also us in the space that we wanted to create of Tusk. So we have those really great profiles, and they're really rich in not just lessons that these people have taught us, but lessons that we have taught them. So the reason for calling it Tuakana is because we wanted to really highlight the fact that the relationship was two-way between us, emerging people, and these more established people. But and then in doing that, we also highlighted the fact, we also kind of came across the fact that a lot of our peers are really equally as influential to us. And so we established the on the level profiles. And again, it's really rich in the amount of, just the amount of knowledge that new people can bring to the sector, are bringing to the sector, and the exciting kind of and challenging kind of conversations that we can have with each other. And it's also just built up this incredible cohort of supportive and awesome and upwardly mobile people.
Good phrase. Say upwardly mobile. Good, I like it.
It's kind of like that, you know, that connection that we can get on things like Twitter, but letting it happen and letting people kind of extrapolate on it. So it's not just 140 characters of people kind of communicating ideas on Twitter, but it's like, you know, on the level on the kind of profile, you can connect people with really complex ideas and kind of geography in different organisations, and it's a way of bringing people together and having this, kind of cross-generational conversations, which is so important, and we found it is incredibly invaluable and a rich source of knowledge for us, and hopefully for people doing it.
And in our, we presented at the Museums Aotearoa, Australasia actually, conference last year, 2016, yeah. So we were looking at leadership as a problem. An opportunity, yeah, that's more positive. So as part of that, we did draw out quite a lot of really rich kōrero that people have given us as part of these profiles. And I mean, I guess in terms of the questions that we ask of people, we do ask them to be really aspirational about the future, but also make the point specifically with the tuakana to make them reflect on what emerging people bring to the sector. And that was more of me just trying to be like, hey, remember, think about them whenever you're making all these decisions, because we have perspectives that we want to bring as well.
It's also, and those tuakana, it's also amazing, you know, we ask people what their challenges have been in their career and what they've and just a repetition of the problems that our sector face now have been the same for 20, 30 years, you know, and it's amazing to see it all together. What do we need to do to solve these problems? And it's, I don't really have answers, but it's just nice to have. We don't have answers, but to kind of highlight that in one place, you know, that we need to work together and look at what I'm trying to say. But
yeah, well, I think that's a good point, is because I mean we're centralising all of these kind of problems, but at the same time we're also showcasing that there's a lot of people thinking about these problems, and we're making, they may be incremental, but we are building together. And I guess it's
just building a dialogue, it's something, you know.
Yeah, and it's showing the amount of energy, the collective energy that we have. And I mean, there's a long way to go, and there's, you know, many things we can still overcome, but it is a nice reminder sometimes to be like, we have made some sort of improvement. Yeah.
And I think also, like, I've been talking with some colleagues up at the community, and this is what another conversation I'm starting to have, that we just often don't give ourselves time to think why we do what we're doing. You know, so we work, we just kind of do what we're going to do. Whereas thinking and asking why is fundamental to everything that we do in organizations like this. And we don't often have the time at work. And so having this platform, I think, gives that gives people an opportunity, or at least a kind of, you know, it's like a lightning rod or something where they can at least have a space to kind of explore those ideas and to think about their daily life and how to apply our current things, ethics, which is something everything that we do in museums. And so it's trying to give people just an opportunity to think about one aspect of it and how ethics might interplay with that. And so that's what we're trying to do.
I was just thinking that's so true about making sure you know, the reason why, because I think that's when you can be starting to feel a little bit discouraged. If you just take it right back to the root, it can kind of just re-energize you, and you realize why you're doing what you're doing and why you're passionate about it. And I find mentoring really helpful for that. So I have a mentor meeting every 2 weeks, and we nearly always talk about that kind of thing. And I always come back to work feeling refreshed and energized.
Yeah, it's important because you do get laden down with your daily work and those sides of sometimes, and maybe not for everybody, but yeah, you can lose sight of why you're doing what you're doing. And we always, I think it's important to have those kind of touch points that you can always go back to and remind yourself why you're here and why it's important and why you spend all your time outside of work thinking about it.
Yeah.
Which I think is the beauty of social media. Well, one of the reasons why I like it so much is that whenever I do get to a point in my work day where I'm kind of like, oh my God, where do we even start? Even just like a 2-minute kind of like scroll through social media, and then people have suddenly shared all of these incredible like articles or pieces of writing that other people have written in really kind of engaging topics. Just seeing what is out there makes you go, oh yeah, that's right. And then you get back into whatever.
Yeah, very motivating.
Just how hard people are working to think about these things and solve problems or find solutions, or like Pentago Punch or any of these places where you see these incredible pieces of writing coming out, and it's a wonderful to be a part of that.
Sure. So we do have a couple of other sections on the website as well, and one of them directly links to the answer. So a couple of years back, well, not actually that long because we're only not even 2 years old, but
Feels like a couple of years.
So last year we started a formation column where we wanted to showcase how we are working to try and make the sector strong from the bottom up. And so we invited a current student from the Museum Studies program up at Victoria University to write for us for a year and just kind of reflect on all of the stuff that she does as part of her master's, because it is really comprehensive. And we also thought it would be really good because the difference between studying the sector and then working in the sector is quite different. And and I think it was just good for us to remember those perspectives and remember the kind of really green ideas that you have when you are just itching to get a job. And she was just an incredible, engaging writer, and now has a position down in Southland. Yeah. Jess Aitken, she's great. And then this year, being in touch with Julia, we were talking about the Kōtuku emerging leadership program that Leanza runs for its members, and I just said, well, do you have anyone from the 2017 intake who you think would want to write for us? Because it's a comprehensive program, but as part of it they do keep diaries, so I was just kind of like, we could kind of take however often she's able to take a diary entry and kind of shape it into a post. And so we've had 2 posts this year from one of the Kōtuku 2017 people, Jess, another Jess. And again, it's just really interesting, insightful stuff that she's writing about. Her most recent post was about being brave and kind of identifying the fact that when you're wanting to be a leader or learning about leadership, you do have to take risks sometimes. You do have to kind of put yourself out there and make the decisions. And so that was really great to read, because she has taken a big jump in her career, but also she's in this kind of incubated position where she's thinking about leadership. So it was great to hear that from someone who's both in a leadership role but also thinking really deeply about leadership. And also, just in our communication, she was saying, she finds it really hard to put her thoughts on paper, and then even harder to then think about the fact that it's going to be put on the website and available for everyone to see. So I just, shout out to Jess for taking those brave steps and we really appreciate the voice that she's bringing as well. And I think just even further in terms of thinking about the representation, because we talk about the GLAM, but Nina and I both work in museum roles. Nina has archive experience. I don't. I kind of write into some art contexts, so there's crossovers with galleries, and I think, I mean, it'd just be better to, I mean, it'd be ideal if we could increase the voices from the GLAM of the GLAM. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
But I mean, Nina works more closely with libraries and her team at Auckland Museum. So
yeah, and I mean, when you have organisations like Auckland Museum and Te Papa and all other organisations around the country, like we have integrated museums, libraries. We don't have art gallery at Auckland Museum, but Te Papa does. They're a holistic kind of organisation, so it makes no sense to me for them to be siloed or separate. So that's part of what we want to do as well, is kind of bring those voices together and have them circulate on task. Kind of conversation with each other. We're not anywhere being placed in silence.
For sure. In my previous role, we shared a wall with a door with the museum, and so we did a lot of programs in collaboration with them, kind of as a resource saving thing, but also because it was so handy in terms of locations. So I think it's really nice to be able to do that, and also often you encounter the same challenges. So it's really nice to be able to work with people that get that. And then that whole advocating for the cultural sector as well. It's stronger if you can all work together.
Yeah. So. In Auckland, we've been talking a lot about how we can have collaboration across organisations as well, because so it's not just within the walls of a museum or a gallery or whatever. It's part of this broader cultural landscape. But especially, I think, for Auckland Museum and maybe ones like Motat, and we're actually situated quite far out of the city. We're away from like the heart of the city, I suppose. Up on a hill, we feel kind of there's a disconnect, and so we're really thinking about ways to kind of engage and work really closely with the broader Auckland cultural sector and the community. Because like we do share the same problems, we do have the same strategic goals a lot of the time, and we're kind of all working in parallel, and it's like do something, let's work together. Which is what this is kind of all about, I suppose.
Definitely.
Just another kind of aspect to the cacophony of voices is that we do have quite a lot of, not so much the longer form writing, but within the profiles we do have profiles, but it's predominantly women, and then within the womanness of it, there's also quite a lot of wahine Māori, which just goes to show kind of who is helping bring us up. And I mean, the sector is dominated by women, and it's very much the base. And then the further up you go, it gets more and more male dominated. But in terms of kind of like who is supporting us and who we are building this kind of peer, I was going to say peer support, that sounds like therapy, but this kind of like peer grouping is really, really woman dominated, and I feel it's really powerful and great.
And we actually, because at the beginning we talked about actually making it a space for women in the sector, and we kind of abandoned that idea because we wanted it to.
I don't remember that.
We did, yeah. I mean, it was just like one conversation, but it was just based on that idea that like women are the kind of driving force. We create that base, it's a fact. But we got rid of that. We wanted it to be diverse and brothers in the sector. But it's an important point to acknowledge as well. And it all comes tied in with that idea of free labour and volunteer work, and I feel there is from another. And the general low pay in the sector as well. It's kind of, it feels a part of that conversation around gender roles and the pay gap and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's interesting.
Oh yeah, super interesting. And I think, okay, I'm going to talk about cacophony of voices, but just but the fact that we're all talking about it, and I feel like it's kind of gaining traction. Leadership itself has been a really big kind of topic in the last probably year and a bit. And we had a theme earlier this year called Lead, where some people did, write really specifically to the point. And I mean, there's the Emerging Museums Professionals group as part of our Museums Aotearoa network. It's a big topic for them as well. They've talked about that quite a bit and trying to look at solutions, just because all the major museums at the moment in New Zealand are run by men. They're all Pākehā men or European men, and it's just kind of like, how are we building ourselves up? What kind of skills do we need? And yeah, it's just a really interesting conversation to be having at the moment. And I feel like websites like Tusk can help bring perspectives to that conversation where potentially in the past we wouldn't have had a platform for them.
I think it's like comes back to that idea of being brave, which I'm still learning in my job, and learning how to advocate, learning how to be a leader that doesn't lead anyone. Show leadership qualities and kind of bring people together around a common cause or whatever it might be. And I think that Tusk has been integral to me finding my voice and growing confidence, which is kind of essential to be a leader, I just think it's, Tusk allows that platform of exploration and kind of putting your voice out there in a safe way, not in a meeting filled with senior people who might find intimidating, whatever. It's very empowering, and we're not out to tear anyone down or to put up a it's meant to be a kind of like a nursery or something, it's like kind of to foster people and to that's my point of it.
I think, just with that, it's also enabled us to kind of put that voice in front of people where maybe we wouldn't have had the opportunity to reach them before. So we have kind of been able to connect with quite high, I can't call them high level, but like more executive kind of level people, because we can access them on the internet now, and we can kind of circumvent any other sort of hierarchy. But also, as soon as we started publishing stuff, people kind of went, oh yeah, we actually really need this. And it was almost like people didn't know what they didn't have. And then we showed them what they were missing out on, and it was great. We just got heaps of support really, really quickly.
Yeah, that's been a nice thing in particular, even just communicating with people on Twitter. It's like senior or executive or whatever you want to call them, people, they do actually want to listen, and I guess I maybe didn't know that before we started Tusk. It was kind of foreign territory for me, and it was all very scary, and then you kind of realize people and we're all on the same side, we're trying to solve the problem. And so it was nice having that direct line, which I think, it's been wonderful.
Yeah, one of the questions we asked to Wakana is, what do you think emerging people bring to the sector? And almost all of them have said energy. It's like, hey, include us, but also don't wear us out. But yeah, include us.
Yeah.
I guess we should also talk about, actually, because I did mention a theme. So we do run a theme kind of every 3 to 4 months-ish. Yeah.
And flexible.
Yeah, it's flexible. So we have a lot of other stuff we have to do in our lives. So Tusk is good because it's ours, so we can push it in wherever we need to. But we have a theme, and we call for contributions to each theme. So, and they've been quite meaty themes. We've had access, emerging, diversity, lead. Ethics is the current one.
Oh, that's right.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, no, that's fine. And so a lot of the contributions to that have been longer form written pieces. Some of them have come in the form of our Fast Five, which is another section. But,
neutrality. The other one, sorry.
What did you say?
Neutrality was one.
Oh yeah, neutrality.
Ooh.
Yeah, so there's been, you know, we're having good conversations around things like war exhibitions or the likes of Asian New Zealanders, where they feel they sit in the sector. Yeah, they're good conversations, and I feel really lucky and kind of honoured that people feel that Tusk is a place where they can share those thoughts.
And they want to.
Yeah, and they want to.
Yeah, that's amazing. I do feel like it's a place that's very open, and like you've got that critical writing as well, so it doesn't always be like sunshine and roses and everything's great.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, one thing also that was important to us is we used to be ourselves on the site as well. So it's like, we try, I don't know if we are funny, but I try, you know, we can be funny and we can swear and we can put gifts in and we can, you know, it's about like all of ourselves. Whatever, but it gives us a space where we can kind of converge those two entities and we can be ourselves, which is very important.
Because, I mean, it is a really fun sector, and there are a lot of incredible events that are had in the sector, and a lot of amazing collaborations, and just super talented people working everywhere. And so kind of just having the Fast Five section, which comes out every Friday, you know, commitment dependent, is really, it's just fun to share and remind everyone what is going on around us. And I mean, when I said the thing about going onto Twitter and being like, oh yeah, that's right, amazing voices, amazing articles, amazing pieces of writing. I usually don't really have the time to read them during the week, but I'll do a speed read on Thursday night and then kind of condense it all into a Friday Fast Five and then give it to everyone else to read.
And I think that's also about like recognizing that we're part of a bigger cultural landscape, whatever that might mean. So like the things we do on Fridays aren't necessarily just tied to the GLAM sector. It's about theatre or writing or whatever it might be, or movies, because we're a part of this bigger landscape. Stay connected, and so the Friday things kind of force us to do it. We made the commitment to do it really. And so it kind of reinforces how important it is to stay connected and to read and to see what other people are doing, just to make sure we don't stay in silos and just sit at the desks and do network, but it's part of a bigger thing. So that's what Friday is for me from that perspective.
And it's good to just have, you know, a constant stream of content going up as well. That kind of helps keep us engaged and keeps people coming back.
Definitely. I love reading blogs, and there's nothing worse than finding one that you think is super awesome and you check it and they never post. So that's what I love about Tusk, because every time I go on, like, it's normally that I find it, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool stuff. It's great and just fresh and all the different people. You guys do an amazing job.
So our ethics theme has just a couple of pieces of things published, and one of them, you know, was kind of like a surprise, great piece of writing from a friend's mum who wrote about that friend as part of an art collective that was selected to show a documenter, which is a really prestigious art festival and the first time New Zealand's been selected. And her mum wrote a really great kind of diary, a travel diary, and reviewed quite a few pieces of the work, and I mean not of that work, but of other exhibitions around hustle and I think just hustle. And she also wrote about, you know, how Mata Aho Collective their experience has been, and all of, like, she got quite into the topic, and I just think it's really great that we have having a platform means that we have a place to put that kind of writing where, I mean, where else would someone be able to see it? And I mean, I know that because the documentary is international, I know that that piece of writing has gone global. And that woman who was a nurse living in Whakatane, she's gone global.
That's pretty cool.
Right.
That's pretty amazing. Viral. That's pretty cool. I'm sorry for the time.
Oh gosh.
We've got some questions on mine to ask you guys. Do you mind if I go for it? So I thought we could put a little bit of consulting. If you guys have any way that you motivate yourselves, because as you said, for a huge amount of content, I just think you must have some secret you'd like to share with us.
Nina, can you hear us?
I just had to turn the phone up. I couldn't hear anything you said. Can you repeat it? Sorry.
It's the goal setting question.
Oh, goal setting.
Do you want to answer?
Well, yeah. When we started Task, we didn't have a strategy, and we didn't really have a goal beyond creating a platform for people to share their opinions and for us to explore our place in the sector. And actually, I think that worked really well because we weren't sure if it was going to work, and so if it didn't work, we could put it, we wanted to be flexible and to not kind of, so we didn't have a plan. And all of the sections that are kind of, stuck in the task, so we had Kana and then on formation, and there's a new finger toy, which is kind of a sporadic section for art. It's all been quite organic and just kind of grown out of maybe our relationships or with people or what we're currently working on. And I think that works really well for us because we do have a lot going on. Matariki got a family, and our lives are busy. Be flexible and to put something aside if we have to. I think since we are turning to a strategy or something, we could look at doing something like that in the future, or we could think about what we might want to add to the task in the future. I mean, I don't think we have time for it at all, but what we really want to do, and we applied for funding to try and make it happen, was do a podcast. And so maybe at some point in the future, that might be something that we'll look into. But I still see it as being a very organic, organic thing, and it has to fit around our lives, and it has to take our full selves into consideration, which is that it has to be. So, yeah, that's.
But I think, the flexibility thing is really good because we can just put things to bed if they're not working. And one of them was, we used to do a Twitter thing on Wednesdays called #WednesdayForCardle, and we'd just pose questions and we'd try and kind of get people to have conversations with us online. Mm-hmm. Sometimes no one would reply. Sometimes Nina did one about, Nina did some digital question and it was incredibly popular.
Yeah, it went off.
And the conversation kind of went quickly over both of our heads. But it just became another thing. It was good when I was catching the bus. I could just easily do it on my way to work, but no tweeting and driving. So I don't, no. So that one died. A slow death. Yeah.
Well, can I just say, I would love it if you guys did a podcast. No problem. But I was actually just thinking as we were talking, I was like, if you guys did a podcast, that'd be amazing. And then you mentioned that, I'm like, that'd be amazing.
So, we were really disappointed when we didn't get funding.
Yeah.
But in the end, it worked out for the best that we didn't, because we both got jobs that, in terms of commitment.
Yeah.
But it's still, there are podcasts out there. We've got David Main one now, and our does amazing podcasts, but I think there's some gaps in that landscape, and I don't know if we're going to do it, but I would like to see someone.
Yeah, I love podcasts.
Podcasts are the best.
Yeah, I listen to so many history podcasts particularly, and they're all American, and it's wonderful, and I love it, but I just am craving a New Zealand history podcast series, even episodes long. And I know my time is captive, but
And I think because podcasts, a lot of the time, New Zealand content podcasts seem to be, you know, a recording of a lecture series or something like that, which is different to what I think a podcast is, which is kind of the same presenters having a very kind of, they've got their idiosyncratic way of talking about things and presenting things, and they have their own formats, and so anyone who thinks that they could do that, can do that. Please do that.
When you were talking a little bit about that you both have obviously quite full-on jobs, I was just going to ask you, how do you manage to fit it all in? Like you were saying, on the bus on the way to work, you know, posting stuff on Twitter. We agree, Leonie.
Podcasts are the best.
Yeah, podcasts are awesome. How, like, do you have any time management? Because, the amount of posts is amazing, and then trying to balance that with family and work and other commitments. Bit of a mission, I imagine.
I'm just going to jump in on the family thing. So I've got 2 kids, but they go to bed every night at 7:30. So that, I mean, I don't have to look after them after then, but I have to be home. So that really helps for doing stuff in the evening. Though a lot of the time I'm really tired. So I'm just having a good buddy. My husband's my good buddy. And we kind of, you just juggle. You just learn to juggle.
That's amazing because I've recently started studying to do my when I get home that evenings, my brain is just fried, and I really find it hard to motivate. I not like to get to study. I know I need to, but
And so, I mean, I also have always had really supportive workplaces. So before Te Papa, I was at Ministry for Culture and Heritage, and my managers there knew about TUS and just kind of supported.
And I think it's having, you know, if you're doing that website by yourself, maybe finding that motivation would be harder, but having someone else, Matariki's much more organised than I am, and I feed off her. You know, it really helps, like, to have someone to bounce ideas off, or to try and find motivation if feeling exhausted or overwork or whatever. Like, it's great to have that partnership and friendship. That's kind of the linchpin for us, really.
And I also think, I mean, it's something that I really love. So when I see emails come in or notifications or whatever, I want to reply immediately. Yeah.
Awesome. Nice teamwork. Right. So, maybe what your favourite part of working on TUS is? Like, do you have any highlights or really cool things that happened? I guess you talked about the piece that went global. By the nurse, that's pretty cool. I don't know, any kind of.
I think a huge amount of it is probably the amount of people that we've met. And I mean, that's, like I said, there's directors who know about us, but then mainly it's people who are our peers. And I mean, there's just a huge amount of people throughout the country who have met online, and then you get to meet them at a conference or something, and it's just so, it's kind of like you already know them, you know, and you've already got this connection, so it just feels genuine and personable, and it just makes the sector a really weird, I was going to say weird, but I mean real, a really real and comforting place.
I think, I mean, I like feeling a part of something, and even in my daily work, I like being a part of a team and working collaboratively and feeling kind of part of a groundswell of some kind. And I think that's what TUS is. That's what I feel with that. It's like, and particularly, with our peers and the honor level kind of people that we've engaged with, they kind of, feel like we're part of something together. That's the highlight, definitely. But then, also making connections with people, like this tomorrow with a woman from the Cornwall Museums Trust called Tamina Goskar. She's coming to run the British Art Council funded Changemaker program. So it's how to make change in museums and leadership and diversity and all this kind of stuff. And she's planning to come to New Zealand. And so tomorrow she's going to be running a workshop at the museum with, again, kind of on the level people at my workplace. Making change in museums, and then she's going to be in Wellington with Matariki next week, I think. But yeah, creating those keys and bringing people in and realizing that we're part of a global context as well, you know. So yeah, mental is it's all good stuff.
Awesome.
That was pretty serious.
Yes. Well, that leads quite nicely into the last question. So you've obviously talked to a lot of people on task. So have you identified through talking to those people a major challenge in the leadership challenge in the GLAM sector? Like a kind of one that is quite common?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, one might be around that thing of how to affect change when you're not at the top of an organisation, or you're not a people manager, or you're kind of, and whatever that your place might be. And kind of, I guess, learning how to use your voice at any level. So yeah, I guess that might be one of the main things that's kind of reoccurred in our own profile. I don't know.
I think with the leadership stuff, Elspeth Hocking, who works at Maritime Museum now? No, Motet. She wrote a really great piece about how you can identify whether or not the fact that maybe you don't actually want to be the leader, you don't want to be the person in charge, but you can still have your position in your team is still really important, and you can still lead in different ways. And so I think a challenge is to kind of diffuse the way that we see leadership, because I think people just see leadership as being the boss, and they want to be the boss, make the decisions. So also demystifying what being the boss actually means, because talking with some people who are directors and stuff, it sounds like a lot of financial stuff and like reports and all of that kind of boring stuff. So maybe just being like understanding what a leader is in terms of kind of on a personal level, but also understanding what the boss is, and then trying to figure out what it is that you actually want to change, and maybe you can do it in different varying ways. But I think the conversations that people have been having in the sector about the state of leadership and wanting to kind of grow our own homegrown leaders is, I mean, it's not going to go away, but it's also kind of like, well, what are we going to do? What is our aim? Is it just a New Zealand leader for the sake of a New Zealand leader, or what does that even mean?
That why again, like, we want to build and grow New Zealand leaders, but why? Like, what are they going to bring to the table different to the current model of leadership that we have? And I think it's all positive, but we need to kind of explore that why and kind of almost like some music, like this is what we need in director or whatever.
And Task is the perfect platform for that.
Send us your thoughts.
Cool. All right. Well, we've pretty much reached the end of our time already. Anything else you wanted to add before we wrap it up?
Nah, just
sorry, that's what we mean.
We're always looking for people to contribute and to be part of our current scene of ethics is still open, so please think about it.
And I mean, we're nothing without our contributors. It'd just be Nina and I talking by ourselves, which is maybe what a podcast would be as well, but it's still awesome. But yeah, I mean, we're nothing without our contributors. And I think one of the main messages, just from Tusk, but also from our experience, is that you don't know how powerful your voice is and how much kind of change you can affect until you start using it. So use it.
Yeah, like I mean, it's changed my life. You know, like putting your voice out there has changed my whole life.
It's changed my life.
Yeah.
It's opened up a whole bunch of opportunities that I don't know if we would have gotten without having kind of burst through.
Yeah.
We did.
That's so cool. You're very, very proud of yourselves. And everyone contributed, obviously.
Absolutely. And thanks to Leanza for inviting us to speak to you all.
No worries. I'm really, really stoked about it, and the response on Twitter was great. So hopefully those of you who couldn't join us in real time can watch later, and we can continue the conversation, probably on Twitter.
See you in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So thanks everyone, and yeah. See ya.
Bye. If you say bye to Nate, oh, sorry.
Bye.